I'm
That's
laughing.
like,
I'm
do you know what I
laughing
mean?
because my closest
Yeah.
representation was Nemo the fish because he had a small fin.
That's actually so cute. I love that.
But it's not like a human being. He's like a clownfish.
Hey guys, welcome to the Purple Goat podcast.
No. I'm Dani. I'm a campaign manager at Purple Goat.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a senior campaign exec at Purple Goat.
We should probably say that I'm the disabled one and that you're non-disabled as well, just so it's clear when we're answering some questions later on.
Well, she's disabled. I'm non-disabled.
What's your disability, Dani?
Yeah, so I have a condition called a brachial plexus injury, which basically means my right arm doesn't work that great. So yeah.
Okay, so what are you going to talk today about?
I can't be that girl, and I think it sums me and Alex up perfectly, so we're probably...
I can't be that girl.
Yeah.
Why did you separate the words?
I don't know, it just sounds more vibey to separate it. Emphasis.
So 2023 is coming up. How do you feel about social media during this time of year?
So social media right now, at this time of year, and with the phrase of I can't be that girl, I feel like in South Africa, okay, bringing back to my roots, it's obviously summertime, so for us it would be like, okay, everyone's going to the beach, everyone's like getting ready, like summer bodies, all that jazz. So that's kind of what is going on like on social media for me right now, and what I see a lot of, and like people going to the beach, looking good, feeling happy. Yeah, what's social media like for you?
Well, somehow, I don't actually know how, but I found myself on the productivity side of social media, which is bizarre because, yeah, so it's all about like personal development and like being a better person and like changing your habits.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot on social about Project 50, and essentially there's like a group of rules that people are following. It's like waking up at 5 a.m, exercising for an hour and reading for an hour all before like your proper day starts. So it's like the 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5.
What does it sound like me? I feel like I've been doing that, not now lately, but like that was me like a month ago.
But yeah, it's just really interesting to see like there's like whole influencers created to talk about personal development, being a better person, habits, and it's a bit wild, isn't it? Like, who really has got all their together like that? Like,
Do you think that girl exists?
No, 100% no, because I feel like social media, okay, let's take for example, like there's this specific idealistic person that everyone's trying to be like, and you keep like, okay, like I don't have anything against anyone like that does plastic surgery or even like makeup, for example. Like it's all those things that media's told you, and not even just social media, this goes back to like magazines, like TV ads, that tells women this is how you should be and this is the person you need to be, and you need this to make you look like that, and you need this to make you look like this. I mean, those Dove ads, I think they do it so well in like talking about those kind of topics, and they do it really well. But yeah, it's crazy. Being that girl, she does not exist, and I feel like people are always trying to reach it, but because it's not a real thing, you're reaching something that's unattainable.
I think like in an ideal world we all want to think we've got together, but how boring would life be if that was like genuinely the case, right? Because it's like
100%.
the highs and the lows, that's what make life so
Yeah.
like interesting and exciting. And
If you had to describe who that girl is, who is she if you see her on Instagram?
I don't know,
Or
she's like that woman that like gets up at 5, has a green juice, goes to the gym, does her hair and makeup, got a sick career, got it all together. Like that's what you see.
got a Frenchie.
Yeah, got a Frenchie. Like, do you know what I mean? Like really nice apartment.
Yeah.
And that's just not the reality of life. And yeah, I think it can be quite harmful when that's put out into the world all of the time, and that's kind of like the only reality people might see, especially on social, because as we know, people love to share like the highlight reel and not actually show like the
behind the scenes
difficult stuff that goes on in someone's life, which is understandable. You don't want to put it out there for everyone to see, but yeah, I think it's creating like this weird kind of lens of life that like, especially young people, like I just worry about them so much, because when I was young, I think I was like the last age group that was like, we was on social, like we had MSN, we had Facebook, we had like Bieber, MySpace back in the day.
Don't even know what those are.
but we also was that generation that still went outside and played until like 9 p.m. and we weren't totally glued to our phones and stuff like that. And I think that's really important. Like, I'm glad I haven't grown up as a kid today, because I think
100%.
there's just so much pressure from social.
How did you find growing up, like, as like a young female
with a disability on social?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, for me it's like really interesting, because when I was growing up, like I couldn't like watch TV or like read a magazine and see myself represented. So actually, social was the one place where I could go online and like I'd literally search like my disability as a hashtag, and I'd find other people that actually looked like me and like had similar interests, and it was like the first time and like place. Yeah, I really saw people that even remotely were similar to me, in the sense that like I have an upper limb impairment, so it's a huge part of your identity and like a huge part of what you look like. Obviously it changes as like you grow, and like obviously when I was a kid, because my arm is like smaller, but when I was a kid my arms looked the same length because I was smaller. But obviously as I grew, obviously then the physical differences from my condition became more apparent. And yeah, social was like a breath of fresh air at the time, because it was like the only place I could go, and as I've said, find people that looked the same as me, that moved the same as me, that had the same interests. So it was really refreshing. And then also I was able to find other people from the disabled community that didn't have my condition but also was disabled, and I could see their lives on social as well. And yeah, it was really nice. I don't really know if I'd be able to find that anywhere else other than social as well. Even today, like the only other time you meet with a group of people that has the same condition as you is when you're at a hospital clinic. And I think that is crazy. Like, you're either at a hospital having treatment, or you have to be on social to find that community.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like just wild that that's the situation that I found myself in, like as a young teenager, but also still today. It's still really hard to like find a group of disabled people if you're not in the community, and so much of the community is online now, especially with like COVID and the pandemic and everything else. It's just a home for the disabled community, I think, and we're really lucky that we have that, but also it does suck sometimes because there's so much pressures from social.
100%.
How do you feel, Alex? Because, for example, for my case, when I was growing up and I didn't have social media, also, I was not seeing anyone like me in like adverts or anything like that. How was it for you?
I mean, yeah, I think growing up, like, I guess, can I say there's more, like, I don't know, people in like social, whatever, that can I say maybe physically can represent me, but I don't necessarily like feel that, exactly.
That's really interesting, that like there is so many people that look like you, but you still don't feel represented.
100%. Like, I just remember like seeing like in the magazines, or like, I don't know, just these like very like happy go lucky girls who always like, you know, the popular one, and I don't know, they just like, and also I think like a lot of like women that I saw, or like yeah, in socials growing up, they, can I say, like it was like models essentially, but like Victoria's Secret models or whatever, and it's like, now you're this little girl who's trying to keep up with trying to look like that, because that's what's been shown to you is how you should look, or what's expected of you how to look. And I couldn't do that. Like, I could not compete at all. And I think that like I was like a chubby child, like growing up, like loved being chubby child, like that was my vibe. But like as well, I had a burst appendix when I was like, I think I was 12 years old, and I've obviously got a scar of that like on my stomach, which is obviously visible, and that for me was like a big like, oh my, like my self-confidence like dropped like a lot, because I was like, oh my gosh, like why do I have the scar on my body, like why can't I be like that person or that person, like something so like small can have the biggest impact. And I think that again goes to representation of like what you're supposed to look like, the ideal person who like doesn't exist.
How do you think like social is like affecting confidence today?
I feel like it's like a 50-50.
Okay.
Because I feel how I'm with social now, I feel like I used to be very like, oh my gosh, I need to post, I need to look this way, I need to look that way, whatever. But now I'm just like, okay, I'm going to post this because I want to post it. I don't care about what anyone thinks or what anyone's opinion is. I'm literally just posting it for me. But I still think today though, there are still a lot of people who like have a negative relationship with social media, even though there are like a lot of positives. But again, it goes back to that thing of you saying like, you only see the good things, no one shows the bad things. So it's like, I'll be looking at someone's story, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're living their best life. Or like, people have been messaging me saying, oh, you're traveling here, you're traveling there. And I'm like, yeah, but you know how much money is in my bank account? Like, 0. So it's like, I'm traveling, but there's no money, so I don't know how we're doing it. But it's like, again, it's not getting the full story, and people, I guess, making their own assumptions of that person.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I don't know, it's kind of weird. I think I always struggled with low confidence, like especially as a kid. Like every parents' evening, the one comment would be, "Oh, Dani needs to speak more," and I wouldn't even raise my hand and make a comment. I just wouldn't speak. Like, and I think obviously like my disability does have an impact on my confidence and stuff like that. But from like a social media image point of view, I don't know, the minute I realised that like I don't need to try and look like those models in the magazine, because it's never going to happen.
100%.
There's nothing I can do.
Exactly.
I could have all the surgeries in the world, right, and I'd still look nothing like that. So that was just like a massive relief. I just kind of pushed that to the back of my head, but I still did struggle with like self-esteem and low confidence. Like it's probably been the biggest barrier in my life, which is crazy. And I think it's only like since I've been at Purple Goat really that I've like got a lot more confident and like found myself a little bit more. Like I think even if you speak to everyone on the team, they'll probably say like a year ago, like I probably didn't speak that much. No, I don't, shut up.
Honestly, just work with Dani and then you understand. How do you feel now, self-esteem wise, in comparison to when you were younger?
Oh, like a lot better now, but yeah, I think it's really weird, like when I think about confidence, self-esteem, because it's like this weird cycle, right, where if you don't have confidence and self-esteem, like you don't try anything new, but it's only by trying something new that you gain confidence and self-esteem. So it's like this really weird cycle where you just have to say, F it,
100%,
and go for it, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck in the same rut. But it is really difficult. Like I said, I think it's been like the biggest barrier for me. And I actually said to Martin before, I said like, because basically I freelanced for Purple Goat before I came on full time, and I said that if I saw the job application before freelancing for them, I wouldn't have even had the confidence to apply for the job.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. Like I just wouldn't have had the confidence to do that. And yeah, almost 2 years later, like, I'm still here, so that's great. But
thank goodness.
Yeah, it's just funny like how confidence affects people so much. And I know within the disabled community that confidence can be a massive issue.
Who is someone on social media that you really like in terms of how they talk about these topics, and also in relation to now, you know, getting to your best self now with the new year? Is it someone that you really like on social media?
Self-love Liv. Yeah. She is a vibe. I just love her like energy. She's just, I don't know, she just doesn't care, and she's just like herself. Obviously, again, that's what I'm seeing from social media, so we don't know behind the scenes. But from what I see, it's almost like she doesn't give two shits, and just lives her life.
For me, like I don't have a specific creator, but I just love it when I see someone being like authentically them.
Yeah.
Like they just don't give a crap, and they just do what they do, and then they just put it out on social, that's what I really love, because then I'm just like, oh, that's really cool. Like if I see someone do like, I don't know, the weekly food shop and they're having a blast, I'm like, sick, love
100%.
that, love that.
Like just like being natural and authentic.
That's our favourite word, isn't
Authentic.
it? Authentic.
Do you think that girl can become a more raw and natural person, like you were saying, like kind of not creating such a created content, or maybe, you know, showing that the life is not that perfect, quote unquote?
I think the disabled community do it really well, because disabled influencers show their daily life 9 times out of 10, right? Like you got someone who's like at work 1 minute, but then they're like showing on their stories that they've had to go to a hospital appointment. And I think all of those things just make it so much, it just shows the reality of life and the reality of being disabled as well, which I think is really important to see, because when I was a kid, like I've spoken about before, that like my teacher weirdly had the same disability as me, and that was like the only other person with my condition, but apart from that one other person, like I didn't have anyone who was disabled in my life. Like family, there was no one, friends, there was no one, so it was just me trying to figure it out. And I definitely felt like I was so far behind all of my non-disabled friends all of the time. Like I just, it was really difficult and so much pressure, but I don't know, I guess people just being brave enough to constantly share their actual reality is what's going to change it on social. But I mean, I'm not going to say like I still love watching the productivity kind of content. I clearly do, because I'm hooked into the algorithm now that keeps feeding me that stuff. So
all of these, now with the new year, all of these New Year resolutions or routines to follow for the new year to become your quote-unquote best self, what do you think about that?
That's literally what I think about it. I don't know, I just feel, again, it's telling people how they are supposed to be and what they should be doing, where it's like not everyone wants to like exercise, give up drinking Coca-Cola, but like I just think, again, it's like it's telling you, I think it's almost telling you that the way that you are right now isn't good enough, and that you must change, and you need to do the silly eating day challenge because you just stuff your face on Christmas and Boxing Day now. You've eaten for like 500 people, and I don't know, I feel like it should come from you. If you want to exercise, like I don't feel like exercising every freaking day. I don't feel like eating healthy every single day. It's like what you feel you should be able to do, and not having someone like tell you to do that, if that makes sense. But then again, doing those challenges or whatever, like with friends or something, or doing it as a group, it's like fun and like an activity, but I also don't like being told what to do. So
I think it's interesting because before Christmas, right, like literally on the run up to Christmas, everyone tells you to like, oh, have that chocolate, enjoy yourself, it's Christmas.
Treat yourself.
And then the minute it's the 1st of January, it's like, no, you need to be working out now, you gotta get back on the diet, you need to lose weight, you know.
And also, it's always the woman. The woman must always lose weight. No one's ever looking at the man, sorry, just to bring that up. No one's ever looking at the man being, oh, are you sure you want to eat that? Are you sure you want to have that last one?
But I think it is really interesting. I think, like, as I've said, I don't mind the productivity stuff, but I think it just has to be realistic.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, like, suddenly go and make a million changes to your daily lifestyle, because they're just not going to stick and you're going to be miserable.
100%.
Like, so miserable. Like, just make, like, tiny ones.
Yeah.
See if they work. If you enjoy them, great. If not...
Yeah, exactly. And I think it should come from you. It shouldn't come from someone telling you or making you feel bad.
Yeah, I think as well, like, being disabled, it's just not realistic to even be able to make those massive changes, because, like, well, the PG team know, because typically from November to February I go into hibernation, and I don't really come out that often because it's
I'm
cold.
surprised to see you.
I know, highly honoured.
Thanks for joining.
So, yeah, you should be highly honoured, I'm here.
Thanks for
But like, the weather is miserable, so pain levels increase, which means I'm then just more tired, and I don't want to be out and about. I don't want to be working out. Like, I just physically can't handle that. So
Yeah.
I think if I personally like didn't follow the disabled community on social, I'd be really depressed because I'd just feel like a constant failure, and I'd have all these expectations of non-disabled people that I just could never live up to.
It's, you say that, and I feel like I can't even live up to the
Yeah.
non-disabled expectations. That's why, like, working for Purple Goats, working with disabled influencers, speaking to people on the team, it's like you just get this like completely different perspective of life, and just like, again, authenticity, but like literally just like people being themselves, not trying to put on this facade. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like, I hope that if there's any like younger disabled people that are trying to like figure themselves out, not quite sure what to do or like what they want to be when they grow up, they now have like some really incredible creators to go and have a look at, and hopefully like all of the content that the disabled community produce, which is incredible and so educational, is like such a massive like ecosystem now. It wasn't quite built up when I was younger, because obviously I'm not that old, so it was quite new, but I think now like there is some real incredible creators, and I think if I was a teenager again, I think I'd be buzzing just to see like
How much
everyone
representation there is.
Yeah, but it's only representation because these creators are putting it out themselves.
No, exactly, 100%.
So.
If they, like, I think a lot of creators that we've spoken to, they said, I never saw someone like me, so I wanted to start creating content for other people, which I think is incredible. Yeah, guys, see you next time. If you like this video, give a thumbs up.
Well, me and Alex want to be the most watched members of the PG team.
We've actually made a bet, so we actually need to win this, and if we do, we'll take one of you out on a date.
Oh my god, giving us eye right now.
Bye!